Seth Riley here with the White Hat Mastermind Show, and we're just going to do a completely unplanned mastermind call with a bunch of new people that I'm basically just getting to know through different various Facebook groups, and they should be joining me pretty soon. So we're just going to go ahead and wait for them to join, see who we can get on the show, okay? And
no worries, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome, Patty.
Thank you, Seth. I appreciate you for setting this up, by the way.
Yeah, no problem. Then
it was so awesome of you.
Thank you. And we have Sam on as well.
Hey, what's up?
How you doing, buddy?
Hey there.
So this was completely unplanned. I was telling Tom that I got sick about 3 hours ago and laid down and jumped up and showered really fast, and I think I got food poisoning or something, but I went through with
it. Oh, Lord. I had that like a week ago. That's brutal because it stays for... It just seems like it lingers on.
Yeah.
That's a bad one. Hope you feel better.
Yeah, thank you. I need to see if my buddy Boris is going to get on. He's actually the creator of, I don't know if you're big into WordPress plugins, but he created opt-in forms and also opt-in lock. And then we're actually partnering on a plugin right now. It's called Page Takeover. It's a list building plugin. So.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
Yeah, I'm going to try to Skype him the link real fast. It's 3 a.m. for him. He's in Europe, so he might be sleeping already. So, Tom, are you an entrepreneur right now, or are you working a 9-to-5 job?
A little of both.
little of both?
Yeah, so I'm doing consulting right now, working my way towards getting out of that. But that pays the bills right now. I actually started in more of the offline model, so I have a real estate investment business that we've been doing for several years. We have a wine and liquor store.
Okay.
And then we've actually consulted and helped a lot of other small entrepreneurs get started. So over the last year, it's really been jumping more into the online space and learning more about that.
Wow, that's awesome. Are you planning on taking your liquor store online, possibly?
We're in New York State, and there's a lot of regulations, so I don't think we'll do that.
Okay.
But one of the things I think that we've seen a lot of interest in is, so my wife and I partner on all of our businesses together, and kind of the niche that we're targeting is how do you start all these businesses and then also, build a great life and keep your relationship. Because a lot of the entrepreneurs that we work with end up, running into relationship issues because we're side hustling all the time.
Yeah, I'd imagine that'd be pretty rough.
Yeah.
And let's see here. Sam, can you hear me, bud?
Yes, I can.
Oh, okay. Why don't you just tell us a little bit about you and what you are currently doing?
All right. Well, I'm a stay-at-home dad. I've got a 2-year-old that I've been able to be home with for the last 2 years. So handling him and providing for him is like number one for me, and that's one of the reasons that I've kind of moved into the online space to begin with. So I want to be around. I want to have the kind of lifestyle flexibility to do this kind of stuff on my own schedule, right? I don't want to have a boss anymore. So my whole deal has always been health and fitness. I lost 55+ pounds some time back, and I've championed helping other people do that. And so I have a podcast that I've started to use as a funnel into a community. So I've got a weight loss support community online, and that's the primary vehicle to bring people into it is my podcast. But I have been, cross-promoting, showing up on other people's shows. I've got a newsletter, and I'm slowly building that email list. I came to the realization of the importance of the list really late.
Wow.
But I've taught myself the way around a couple plugins, and WordPress security. I've been like catching up on the stuff I need to know there, and so I built the membership site using Optimize Press, and I've got I've got the membership stuff in there. But I've been learning by trial and error how to like optimize the site without breaking stuff, and so that's my world right now, right? I've got a day job. I freelance doing web design here when my son allows me to like work in between his naps and stuff. But my mission is to grow that membership community to where that's the primary vehicle for income here.
Wow, that's awesome. Congratulations. Just the fact that you can stay home with your son, that's pretty awesome experience, I'm sure. And that you can start a business now online, just being online. I think, a lot of podcasters they get into the podcasting space, and they go to launch their podcast, and they do that successfully sometimes, but then they're like, oh crap, I have no way of monetizing these leads, and I never learned how to build sales funnels prior to launching the podcast. So a lot of guys are just like you said, are just basically learning as you go, and it's definitely a good idea to get a handle on, even if you use lead pages or Russell Brunson's new product, ClickFunnels. That's really cool. I just actually bought his book called .com Secrets, and it basically walks. Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's a great salesman. I had to buy the book because obviously his sales funnel is just amazing. I mean, you're buying basically a free book on the front end, and then he has the check this button to get my $47 audio version, and then you pay like $7 for shipping. So technically it's not free, but he can market it as a free book. But I'm excited to actually get that book and just dive deep into it. I'll just kind of tell you a little bit about my background. So I've been marketing online for about 4.5 years now, and prior to that I was in construction as a carpenter, and I ended up having some back problems. So my good friend Bob Beckett basically mentored me and allowed me to work over his shoulder for about a year, and he's been an online marketer, or more so he's into like MLM and big ticket items, but he's been an online marketer for like 16 years. So he was gracious enough to let me watch over his shoulder for about a year at his office till I got the hang of things. And when I got into marketing, I actually was like a full-time email marketer, and I build squeeze pages, landing pages, thank you pages, redirect pages, all kinds of different pages, split testing pages. So when I got into this space, I instantly knew how to build sales funnels, which was kind of a good thing, but in a sense it wasn't necessarily the best thing for me at the time, because when you're just relying on an email list and affiliate marketing to make your money online, you really it's very hard to build a true following of people that are interested in you directly. You know what I mean? And so I had to kind of really figure out, well, okay, do I want this, kind of short-term business model, or do I want to look into something a little more long-term? So that's when I kind of got directed into podcasting and doing screencasts. I have a show called the White Hat Mastermind Show on my blog, White Hat Mastermind, and I basically just do video tutorials, and I teach people about WordPress and just different marketing tools to kind of get you started online. But I basically got into online marketing and started out building sales funnels and promoting affiliate offers and things like that. And so I was able to make money right off the bat, but I wasn't able to build that following that I really wanted to do. And so, podcasting is definitely going to be something that I'm going to be implementing constantly in my business. I'm about to launch this audio podcast called White Hat Radio. And basically, White Hat just stands for like ethical marketing, to me anyways. Everybody else is like, what does White Hat mean? But,
Hey everybody, my name is Patty Dominguez from pattydominguez.com. That was my original website. And then I started a podcast with a friend of mine, Tim Wambach, back in February. I say back in February. It's only been a handful of weeks. And that podcast is called Boss Free Society at bossfreesociety.com. I don't know how far back people went into their stories or whatever, but my whole background's been in corporate. And then in January of 2013, I quit my job, the last job that I had for a Fortune 100 company. I just got really, really burnt out. And so I started out on the consulting side of things. And now, probably in the past year, I've been more focused on figuring out how to make money online, because it's so daunting. There's so much to learn, and there's so many ways that people do things. So I spent a lot of money trying to figure stuff out, and there's a lot of there's a lot of very shisty people on the internet. So like I saw your white hat thing, I was like, yes, like that I can align with. You know what I mean? Just the name of it or whatever, because it's hard to figure it out. So I basically joined like one mastermind in 2013, and that helped me out. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Kurt Molly.
Yeah, I've heard of him.
So, but he does a lot of stuff on Facebook, pay-per-click and stuff. And so, like, really my background is more on the strategy side of things. That's how I help my clients, and that's kind of where I find I'm a lot more effective. I don't necessarily really thrive in the tactics, but I think it's really important to know what tactics should apply, right? But the strategy is really where I thrive the most. So, it's just looking, navigating, trying to figure things out. Had an online product specific to branding. I've taken it down because I'm doing some tweaks to it right now. And then the focus for this year for me specifically is really growing the podcast, as well as I'm about halfway done with a book that I should have gotten done already, but been procrastinating a little bit just because I get in my own head. And so with that, it's just going to help me on the consulting side of things. So that's
really awesome. I wanted to mention that you're writing a book right now, and it seems like a lot of authors and marketers that get started online have really good success with just launching a book on Amazon. I mean, for instance, I don't know, Chris Ducker. I'm not sure how long he's been around, but when he launched his book, Virtual Freedom Alliance, I think that's what it's called. I didn't even know of him before that, and then all of a sudden I'm in his Facebook group, and he has like this, he's building this massive following.
Yeah.
Just from that single book he built, and then next thing I know, his website's ranked like 5 out of 10 in Google search engines.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah. So there's this little. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, so one of the things with Chris too was he got in with all the right people, so. Right. Friends with Pat, friends with John Lee Dumas, friends with all those guys, so that when he launched that book, he could tap into all of their followings as well.
For
and if you looked at all the marketing that they did around that on buying multiple books and all of that, he did all that stuff right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it definitely helps. It opens doors just by the nature of that social proof or the perceived celebritydom of it. It's so interesting because I've seen it. I have friends that have written their books, and it gets to, be an Amazon bestseller, and then all of a sudden they're doing these gigs where they're getting paid to speak and all that. I just think it's something like it definitely can hurt. It's almost like it's definitely a differentiator as opposed to going to an event. Instead of giving a business card, you can be like, yo, here's my book. Thank you so much. Would love to connect. I mean, that's a baller move right there because my one friend, Suresh, did it. I was like, dude, that is the best move ever, to hand over someone your book and be like, yeah, thank you, here's my book. That totally stands apart from the rest. So, I don't know, I just think it's really effective. It definitely, it's not intended to be a money maker as much as it is intended to get your brand out there. So. Yeah,
absolutely. Sorry, Tom, I had to mute you temporarily. It's just there's a lot of noise in the background, so I wanted to make sure that Patty was able to say what she wanted to say.
Wait, are you at Grand Central Station?
Here, let me unmute him.
What's happening over there with Tom?
Hold on.
No, I'm at.
Oh crud! I muted him.
Oh, that's okay. It was literally, I was just joking around. I'm like, it literally sounds like he's like Grand Central Station.
Tom, I'm gonna unmute you. Don't touch anything. All right, go ahead. Speak.
All right. So, Patty, I actually have a similar background to you. I started in corporate, and I was telling these guys before you got on, my wife and I have a real estate investing business, a wine and liquor store, and I'm making the move now. I've jumped into consulting, working towards retiring in the next couple of years, and really jumped into the online space within the last year. So I think we have similar paths. So, actually, I'm at BWI on my way back home right now.
All right.
Wow,
good deal.
Awesome. So I think we all connected probably through Pat Flynn's blog, right?
Yeah. So that who's the girl that started that group or whatever?
Melissa?
Yes, right. So I was like, oh, that's cool. I'm gonna check it out, and I just kind of went over, and I don't know, it just kind of helps to connect with people that are on the same journey.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure. I think the post was about masterminding or something, but it's amazing. We all met through literally one blog post on Pat's site, and that just goes to show you how powerful a blog really is. And there are people out there that do enjoy reading blogs. Obviously, people are having great success with it right now. And in my opinion, there's a few ways to really get noticed online, and one is to go the hard route, which would be creating a blog and literally trying to get ranked in the Google search engines. And then there's the other option, which would be to actually launch a product, whether it's a book or an information product. But I haven't seen too many other ways to really get big online without using at least one of those tactics. But
that is good to know.
Yeah. So Sam, what's up, buddy? So, do you have a website right now, Sam? You said you have your podcast.
Yeah, I do. It's and I've been tinkering with it, so it's a wreck right now as I'm saying this. But the page is at tipsofthescale.com, and I'm disabling a plugin right now that I've been fighting with for the last half hour that is making my site a mess. So if you go there and there's nothing but garbled stuff, give me 10 seconds to change that.
That's all right, buddy. This this show is going to be on my my YouTube channel, but it takes a YouTube video a few days at least to start ranking. So it's traffic will come to a YouTube video over time, as long as it's up there, but it's not going to be like an instant rush of traffic. So I don't think you have too much to worry about. But I'd be happy to maybe help you get rid of that plugin if it's causing you problems.
Yeah, it looks like it's a caching / CDN integration plugin, and it's been working fine for me. But they did an update this morning, and apparently that update has jacked up a couple of things. I just rolled back to the prior version, and it's still whatever it changed is still not fixed.
Yeah.
So
let me just recommend not using a caching plugin until you really know WordPress. Like I've been using WordPress for 4 years, and I use Total Cache, WP Total Cache. Supposedly it's supposed to help with site performance.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of bugs that come along with that stuff if it's not configured right. And there's so many different configurations in there. If you don't know every single one, it could cause like a 404 page, memory loss on your server, all kinds of crazy things that you just don't really need to deal with. But yeah, my recommendation is get rid of that sucker for now.
Yeah, it's deactivated right now. I'd actually chosen one that was known for like minimal configuration, like just two or three options, and that's it. And it's been working really well for probably like 6 to 8 months now until this latest version. And if I can't trust it to have an update without busting my site, then it just might be time to retire it.
Yeah, absolutely. So one thing I really wanted to get into is just, I know we're all basically startups, whether we've started in the past year. Like I started 4 years ago, but I'm still considered a startup because I'm not like an online celebrity right now, right? I'm getting good traffic to my site, and I'm getting sales through affiliate offers and things like that. But I'm not technically, a guru online yet or anything like that. But I wanted to kind of talk about what are some of the things that we're struggling with right now that are maybe holding you back from being as successful as you possibly could be, or maybe just some of the technical aspects that are keeping you from getting to that next level. Does anybody want to talk about that?
Sure, Seth. I'll go first.
Okay.
I'll bite. So for us, it's just the technical side of things. For example, like it's just an area that I really don't know where to go to. It's the same situation, right? I mean, we have a website for our podcast, but I know that it sucks. I don't know what I'm doing. I set it up. And the fact of the matter is I looked on how to get it done on Odesk and all these other sources. I looked at everything, and it's this type of situation where you don't know what you don't know, and I always go back to that, and it just like I'm not necessarily interested in having all the bells and whistles as much as it is like, wow, is it ranking, or how do you optimize the site for from an SEO standpoint, that kind of stuff. And I think the other side that we're probably focused on are having some challenges with is for support. So we got a virtual assistant through Chris Ducker's thing, and I don't know, she was just okay. And by okay, I mean it was just like you literally had to spell out, okay, do this, okay, no, do that. And as much as we had a whole process in play, it didn't matter. So just feeling the pain of, to me, and I think you're right, if you're not at 7 figures, you're still a startup technically. And I go just kind of talking about that book, Ready, Fire, Aim, where he talks about that. He's like, any new business, if you're not at 7 figures, or like if you haven't hit that $1 million mark, you really are just in infancy stage, however long of a period that is. So that's definitely our situation right now. So I would say just kind of the
Betty, quick question on that.
Yeah.
Can I jump in? So when you guys outsourced, what were you specifically outsourcing to that VA?
Yeah. So it's a good question. So there's different, obviously, levels, right? It didn't have anything to do with the technology side of stuff, like the website or anything like that. It was literally just support. So for our show, like doing podcast show notes, doing the background checks on the actual guests, like for the bio, a lot of administrative work, as well as really easy stuff. Like, for example, posting on Pinterest. I say easy, but that's so subjective, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But like posting on Pinterest and just checking Twitter, like the, very basic stuff. It just really wasn't working out. And I don't know, in hindsight, I don't think I would have gone through the service that I did. I thought it was a little expensive. And again, that's all relative, but for what we got, I just don't really think that it was, I don't know. I thought it was just a loss.
I've used Odesk for 4 years now, and I've hired probably about 6 people on there that have actually worked out for me. And I hired a Filipino girl to do all my social syndication. I don't know if you guys have ever been invited to my White Hat Mastermind Facebook group, but she basically goes through my entire list of thousands of friends on my Facebook group and sends a personal message to everybody on there, invites them personally. She doesn't just randomly add people to the group, and I found that really helps out a lot.
Of course.
And it is hard to find, for instance, a Filipino to run the show on her own or on his own without having to spell everything out for him. And I've run into that several times, so trust me, I know exactly what you're going through. But there are other VAs out there that you don't have to spell everything out to, that you can kind of trust to get the job done without you watching over their back 24/7. And you just got to look, and you got to hire, and you got to fire fast, and eventually you're going to come across someone that is going to be well worth it because. Whoa.
Is that you?
No, that was not me. We got a little turbulence. So.
Oh, that was weird.
Totally sidetracked me.
Okay, so out of curiosity, Seth, how did you? So you just went on Odesk?
Yeah, I went on Odesk, and the way I found to do it is I would basically set up my job and be very descriptive of what I wanted in the title, and obviously in the description they allow you to add. And obviously Odesk is huge, so you can also put in specific keywords for the type of talents you're looking for. So if you wanted SEO, you could just type in, SEO, add that as keyword when you're creating a job there. Same thing with keyword research, all kinds of different stuff, internet marketing, even, podcast management or something. I'm not sure if that's what it's called, but there's so many different people out there that specialize in stuff like that. And I actually hired someone to set up my Amazon S3 buckets for my podcast, because a lot of people go with Libsyn and things like that. I chose to go with Amazon S3 because it's more of a scalable developer platform. But there's different ways to kind of find out how, who's really a qualified candidate for your specific job. And I think one of the best ways to do that is just by looking at their hours, see how many hours they've actually worked on Odesk. If it's under like 500 hours or something, I would probably, would just keep looking. Also, you always want to make sure that they have at least 4.5 stars.
Yeah.
Closer to 5 stars, and then you always got to read their reviews. If they only have like 2 or 3 reviews, those could have easily been placed there by their friends at some point. So you want to make sure that you read the reviews very thoroughly, and make sure they at least have 10, 20 solid reviews that you can tell are genuine reviews. And I've had really good success just kind of looking at basically just what the information Odesk allows you to look at.
If I can add something in here too, for some of the more simple stuff, if it's like posting to social media or responding to your email or reaching out to people, stuff that doesn't require a special skill set, like there'll be things like the S3 buckets and very specific technical things that you want specialization for. But for other more like administrative stuff, don't discount a really enthusiastic audience member too. I've found a couple of really, really good and really highly invested VAs out of the people who listen to my podcast.
That is so cool.
I tweeted out saying I need some help writing just a couple hours a week. Like I said right out front, it's going to be for writing. It's going to be only a couple hours a week. I made really clear it wasn't like a part-time, full-time, wasn't anything like that. Got like 10 responses, and I had 3 or 4 of them chat with me about what they were looking for, and I explained I need someone who listens to my show, writes out show notes for me, and then we exchange them through Dropbox. Here's the template for you to follow. Was a really, really simple just text document, and that whole interaction was like a 5-minute conversation. I had 3 of them submit their version of the show notes, and I said, okay, I'm picking you to work with. And I told the other one, like, I've selected someone, but I'd like to have you as a go-to if I have like extra work or it doesn't work out for that first person, whatever it is. Everybody was completely on board, and because they know my brand and they know kind of the way I communicate already, they're already really familiar with what I wanted the finished product to look like. So if you have, again, if you're kind of coming out of the gate and you don't have that audience who already knows what you produce, then that's a whole different story. But for people who already know what you're after, Patty, this is don't neglect the audience you already have.
Yeah, that's an excellent tip. Thanks, Sam. It's good.
Yeah. I'm not even sure what I was going to say.
Hey, out of curiosity, does everybody have a podcast? Do all you guys have podcasts?
I do.
So we don't have one yet, but we're launching in the next 3 months. We're just preparing right now.
Cool. Have you guys? Can I ask a question? Does anybody use Audello?
I've never used it.
Okay. I was just curious what your thoughts were on it. It looks like a really cool tool.
What is it?
It seems to me like a central hub, like to broadcast out, and from a data standpoint, you also get a lot of the metrics around how long people were on your podcast. Like, is it just they were only on at the beginning, and or how long they were on, and of course geographically and all that other stuff, which you could get on Libsyn, but I think it gives you more granularity around the type of data. It's called Audello, AUDELLO.com. And I think it's like $300 a year right now. I was just curious if you guys were thinking of using it. It seems really simple.
That's really cool. On the video side of things, that's what I have as a video podcast. So I basically just use YouTube, because they have all that analytics built right in, and their analytics are amazing. I can see right now that I'm getting about 15,000 views a month right now to the different videos on my channel. I can see the average watch time that people have actually watched different videos. So if you're looking at, let's say I have 20 different videos stacked up on top of each other, and you can view exactly how many viewed, as well as how many hours each video has been watched. So it makes it very easy for me to just basically see which videos are being watched longer. So how people are engaging with my videos is super important, and that gives me just a great idea what I can do moving forward. So for me, I would just suggest testing, getting stuff out there and testing. Especially with videos, because if you don't get stuff out there and test, you're never going to have any data that's coming back to you to where you can actually improve in the future,
Yeah.
But I am going to launch White Hat Radio very soon, which is going to be more about startups and things like that, because I'm really big into WordPress right now, and I know a lot of startups are moving towards WordPress to kind of do it themselves. So I really like to teach people how to build a website online, and also I'm going to be getting into teaching people how to build sales funnels split testing and all that eventually. But the audio show will probably be more so interviewing other people that are starting up, opposed to successful entrepreneurs. And there's a great tactic that comes along with, interviewing other successful entrepreneurs. Obviously, the exposure is a big thing. But for me, I really want to focus on startups because they're going through the same exact thing that probably a lot of viewers are going through as well. So that's what I'm really trying to do, and the audience I'm trying to connect with right now. But it looks like we have somebody else.
Hey there, this is Jamie. I signed in late. I just saw you on the Facebook thing there, so I decided to jump in and say howdy.
Welcome.
How you doing, buddy?
Thanks. I'm doing good.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Are you employed or self-employed?
I'm self-employed. I see. I saw the little kid come in there. I literally just got back from working out, so I look kind of messed up right now. But yeah, no, I have my own podcast called Stop Riding the Pine. I just did my 40th interview, so it's still kind of new to that. And then I build WordPress websites, just like you. And I'm a
very cool.
big, huge fan of hockey. So the name of my company is Slapshot Studio. So.
So
Yeah.
you had no problem whatsoever getting your site up and your podcast, I'd imagine.
No, actually, yeah, we're actually building a podcast course right now, so we're really excited about it. We have a lot of fun with it.
Cool. Do you have multiple employees, or is it just you?
I have 2 VAs.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I have as well right now. One does my social syndication, and then the other one actually does my video editing for me. When I started having my VA do my video editing, like, my life changed. I could record a video in about a half an hour, and then to actually edit the video, it'd probably take about an hour to 2 hours.
Yeah.
So just freeing up that time was huge for me.
I just did it with Kerry. I forgot his last name, but he has Podcast Fast Track. So I just sent him my next 10, and he's going to do all of those for me. And I can empathize with what you're saying, though. Holy moly. It takes forever.
Yeah, especially when I'm doing a tutorial on WordPress. Basically, I design websites from scratch with different themes. So one of my videos was literally almost 2 hours long.
I watched it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, that was awesome.
Theme?
Yeah, the X thing. Yeah.
Cool. I'm glad you liked it. But yeah, editing that video probably would take like 5 hours if I were to do it myself.
Yeah, yikes.
But sometimes I've always said you got to work harder than everybody else if you want to be, more successful than everybody else. So that's one way to look at it.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive. I think that means a lot, the content, because I was used to knocking out, really small blogs or, doing stuff like that, and I'm finding the longer your blogs are, the more response you're getting, and the longer your videos are, the more detail, I guess. So yeah, kudos. That's awesome.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think a big part of that, too, is the longer and the more effort you put into, the more evergreen that is. A lot of those short 600-word posts really don't add a lot of value, but when you build those long posts or the long videos, that's what people link to and refer back to because there's so much value in it.
Yeah. When I got online, when I actually started blogging, not when I first started, but the thing I asked myself was, what are the things no one else is willing to do online? And that's what I decided to do. Because I knew if I got into that and I worked harder than everybody else, that ultimately I would be able to have my own angle, and it's really helping build my brand right now because I don't know too many people that are doing step-by-step videos in the detail, pretty much uncut and raw footage of me actually, the process of what I actually do when I build a website. So I'm thinking out, I'm talking out loud to myself. And people do that as well when they're creating their blogs. So, and I've had so much amazing comments on my YouTube channel. It's ridiculous. I'm very excited moving forward. I have a lot of things planned, but obviously it's not where I want it to be right now, and I just have to work every day to make it better, and work with other people, get other people's opinions. Like, okay, what can I fix to make this section better? What can I add to the podcast to to be more valuable and get straight to the point, you know. So it's just all about practice and getting stuff out there and seeing the data that comes back, really.
You know, it's really cool. I'm sorry to interrupt, but what's really cool is seeing you guys on here helping each other out, kind of I'm seeing you guys kind of in the same industry. And I never experienced that before, competitively speaking, until I got involved in podcasting, and then everybody's so dang helpful, and it doesn't matter that, you know, you may have the same kind of show or anything, but I haven't learned as much from this in the past, you know, from other web developers. They're kind of hush-hush or whatever. But then when I got into podcasting, boy, everybody's so helpful, and yeah, man, what a great community.
Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah, so just one more thing on that. What I've seen is in every business we've been in, there's so much business out there if you're willing to do good things and ultimately help people. So, for example, in our real estate business, we could see all of the other real estate investors and landlords as competition, but we don't. We say, how do we help them make their businesses better? Because if their businesses become better, ours does as well. So if everyone is a slumlord, all of our properties are going to be competing on price. But if we help everyone make their properties better, everyone's rent's going to go up and everyone's going to make more money. So I think if we all come at this from that concept of abundance and how do we make a win-win-win situation, ultimately good things are going to come back.
That's awesome. That's exactly it. It's such an easy thing, right? You know, to look at it in any other way is just, it's not the way it works. You know, you can't operate in scarcity.
Yeah, I would say 5 years ago when I started online, I got involved with a lot of these online marketing and affiliate marketing Skype channels. I don't know if you guys are aware of those, where they used to call them swaps and solo ads, and I got into selling traffic online through my list, and I was able to generate about 80,000 subscribers in about a year's time doing some different tactics online. But you know, just being in those different spaces, working with those email marketing gurus, that, you know, guys that had a million subscriber lists and things like that, they don't help you. They don't want to help you. They don't want to share tricks with you. They don't want to see you succeed. It's all about you know, just being the wolf of the pack, you know, the leader of the pack, in other words, and just it's not helpful at all. But podcasting is completely different, and especially that you can hear everybody's voice, and the interaction now is amazing, and it's the technology is really great. Just it gives us such an opportunity to hang out just like this and get to know each other. Does anybody else want to say anything before we probably head out?
Yeah, I would. I guess I'm curious to know, from a podcasting standpoint, like, what do you guys do? So are you guys using your podcast for, you know, to build your list, or are you actually monetizing it directly off through sponsorships, or what are you doing it for?
Go ahead.
So I'll share that. Seth mentioned this a little while ago, but a lot of people start podcasting or have over the last year with dreams of becoming the next John Lee Dumas, right? And like they have this fantasy of, you know, pulling in 6 figures a month after, you know, a year of hard work, and then, you know, living it up after that. But I've been a member of his the Podcasters Paradise group for a while and watched a lot of these go down in flames, and people hit with that realization after 3 to 6 months. Some people after a year of not generating a dime. Fortunately, I had some really good people in that group kind of pull me aside early, because I came in with the same like stars in my eyes, and a couple of people who I connected with pulled me aside and said this doesn't happen for everyone, and it's not. It may look like an overnight thing, but there was a lot of groundwork that went into it, and the right connections and all. We've talked about some of this, and they said you need to find multiple streams of income, even if you still plan on monetizing through sponsorships and stuff like that. And so that's where I partnered. I've got now my like Amazon income from just affiliate links on my blog posts, because originally my show notes were like John Dumas's, where they're, you know, maybe 200 words or so. They weren't even worth posting, right? It was just links. And now I've put a lot of effort, and I have a VA that helps me with these, as I mentioned, to write really, really thorough show notes, and I include all the Amazon affiliate links that I can in there. I've signed up for every affiliate program that I can that's relevant to my niche. And now, like, what's coming in from Amazon every month and from those other programs is enough to pay for my hosting, for my Libsyn hosting, for like a number of things. So the show pays for itself early on, thanks to those people who gave me that feedback. The other thing was generating a list I didn't do early on, and so building a community was something that I launched last October and I hadn't thought about for a long time, and that's generating recurring income now, where I have members who are paying a fee every single month. That took me a long time to get to there also. Unfortunately, I have also had sponsorships for the podcast. I've had a total of 4 sponsors, anywhere from like 3 episodes to some of them 3 months. And it's the typical CPM stuff. So they're paying $18 for a pre-roll for every 1,000 listeners I have, and I'm averaging about 3,000 listeners per episode right now after a year and a half, and $25 for mid-roll. And so I'll have pretty much all of them will buy both spots. But again, you can't count on those because they'll do a campaign of like 5 episodes and then they're gone, and it's like feast or famine. You got to wait, and then the next one comes along. And I've actually partnered with companies directly and through midroll.com, which is an ad buyer, so that's a media agency that connects me with companies. So long story short, I know that's a ramble, but there's for me, the podcast there's no way that it would have generated anything to even pay for itself, much less to live on, if I hadn't taken advice early on to like find other ways to build income. So it's at this point, it's just another point in the funnel that brings people to my community.
So I would say you're probably the farthest along in the game of podcasting. I really only have about 18 episodes on my actual video podcast on my site. I have more YouTube videos, and when I started, I actually was just doing YouTube videos, and then once I seen the comments and feedback I got on my videos, that was proof of concept for me. So I went ahead and went with it, and my site, I've really been working on it pretty hard for about 6 months to a year now, and the whole concept and idea behind my site probably took about 2 years to come up with, and I still have so much stuff I'm working on. But just to kind of follow up with what Sam said, one of the things that I really enjoy doing with each episode now, I kind of treat each episode as if it's its own unique sales page or landing page. So, every time I do a video and I have recommendations in the video, I always have my affiliate links below the video, and I let people know that as well. And, sometimes I'll let them know where they can sign up. And below every single episode I have, there's an opt-in forms right above the comment section. So if they opt in there, they can get, another video course that I created, which I set up with my GetResponse account, and they're going to get, one video each day, and I set it up in a sales format to where they can see the videos that are coming next, so like day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, and I basically just walk them through my entire business model, and doing that kind of stuff, just having those systems in place of automation, it basically helps you to not only monetize your list and your leads that are coming into your site, but also build relationships, and people will begin to trust you as they watch your videos and take your training serious online. So that's basically what I wanted to just throw in there.
That's awesome.
Does anybody else have anything that they're currently doing to maybe monetize their website or attempting to do?
Yeah, not the website. Well, the website I try, but with the podcast, I've gotten indirect business from it. I actually had one person that wanted to sponsor me, and I said no because I didn't have enough listeners for him, and I didn't want him to get a bad experience. But I've actually got 3 websites from people that I've interviewed or referrals from that, and I thought that was pretty neat because I would have never had that without the podcast. And I think that's what's really cool about podcasting is all the people you get to meet. So, yeah, the indirect, I think, is just as good as, if not better, I think.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome.
I concur. Another thing would be probably a really good thing to do is set up Google Analytics on your WordPress blog. Mm-hmm. A lot of people tend to use WordPress analytics because it's easier to install. You can use like the Jetpack platform, but I don't suggest that. It's really bulky. But once you set up Google Analytics, you can set up custom dashboards within your Google Analytics. So I have a social media dashboard that basically is strictly for all my social sites. It tells me where my leads are coming from, what sites are coming from, what links are coming from my Facebook and Twitter accounts. And then I also have a performance dashboard. It tells me how long my pages load. Then I have another dashboard for different countries and just all kinds of data. And also, I can't remember. I think it's a dashboard called like Sales Flow or something like that. And it basically has these arrows that takes you through the process like this, and basically shows how each visitor comes to your site, what page they enter, and how they interact as they go through your website. So, knowing where your visitors are coming from and also how they're responding when they come to your website is a really important thing.
Another cool plugin too. I don't know if you know this, but they're kind of in a startup, and they actually have a free version to it, and then paid I think is like $9 a month or something. But it's called GetSocial.io, and it is really cool. So even if somebody copies a link and pastes it in the URL, they can track that. It's really cool. So if it looks like on Google Analytics says, oh, this person came from this site over here, in reality they came from this site because they posted the link there. So it's really cool to be able to find out how to track that way, and it's free. I love it.
Yeah, there's another plugin I've used for probably 4.5 years. It's a really simple free plugin right inside the WordPress directory, and it's called Pretty Links.
Oh,
and it basically allows you to cloak your links, any link you want on your website. And the cool thing about it is you can make short URLs for the domain of your website. And let's say you wanted to see how many clicks a specific link is getting when you promote it on different social sites or wherever you choose to promote it. You can make specific links for that. You could always delete the links later if you wanted to, but it's cool to see how many people are actually clicking on your links. And then another one for that would be Google Shortener. Same concept, only it's not on your WordPress dashboard.
That's awesome.
Also, opt-in forms. It's a free plugin. My buddy Boris Bio created it, and you can basically set up your Aweber account, get response. I think they have Infusionsoft, but there's styled web forms that you can place on your site. And I think a lot of people struggle to make stylish web forms on their website when they first are getting started, if they don't know how to use CSS and stuff like that. So having a really good list building plugin on your site is good. Also, opt-in lock, that's one of the bigger ones that I like to use. You can actually lock content on your website. So as people are reading through like a blog post, you could actually lock the content and only show like the first article, and it would say like, enter your email to read the rest of the article or something.
That's cool.
Yeah, but yeah, it's very cool, and it's a new strategy that my buddy came up with. So I'm looking forward to implement that in my business moving forward.
So hey guys, even though in terms of podcasting or whatever, I'm very new, but I'm happy to help you guys with anything. However, so again, if you go to pattydominguez.com, so I do branding, coaching, that kind of thing. I don't know if you want to pick my brain on branding. It sounds everybody knows what they're doing here, but I'm happy to help. I really genuinely enjoy helping people and just adding value wherever I can. And I've appreciated this because you just pick up little things. It's like a really huge puzzle, and you're just piecing it together. And you're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. You know what I mean? So this helps. It helps so much. So I appreciate all of you guys for the input.
You. And definitely. I think thinking that you know it all is probably a bad thing.
No, I definitely will never say that. I'm humble enough to recognize I know, gosh, there's so much to learn.
Yeah, so in terms of branding, I'm definitely going to come pick your brain.
Yeah, for sure.
There's always things I enjoy learning. I'm more of an analytics and tech guy, so the things that you guys struggle with, maybe I'm good at, and maybe some of the things that I struggle with, you probably are more dominant in those areas. So that's why, I like to get together and have these masterminds.
For sure.
We can just kind of help each other where others fall short.
Yeah, Patty, I'll be reaching out. Just a heads up. I've got one of the things I didn't mention is I am putting on an offline conference next month for listeners of my podcast. Total experiment. I'm actually losing money on the thing, but it was really important for me to do this. Like, I committed to my audience. I was going to do it, following through, and I'm bringing 50 people to this offline conference, and I'm going to be streaming it to, right at this point, 50 online viewers, and the branding part of it, totally alien to me. So I could use some pointers there. So I'll reach out to you, Patty. I can use some help there.
Yeah, happy to do that. And everyone's on Skype, I'm sure. So so you can catch me on Skype, and then we can talk. We can talk, Sam.
Cool.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me tonight, and I look forward to.
Yeah, thank you, Seth, for like organizing this out. I think like you grabbed the bull by the horns. You're like, let's just do this. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no problem, guys. I had to start thinking that way. I wasn't getting anything done doing it any other way. So,
That's right.
I just
be an action taker.
But, maybe we'll do this again next Thursday and see how it goes. More people can come on the show and join us. I think next week I'll be a little more prepared if I host it or whatever. So I'm sorry for the interference, guys. If you're watching this in the beginning, it was pretty bad, but we got through it and it turned out to be a great show. So thank you guys so much for joining me, and we'll see you later.
Great.
Have a good one, guys.
All right, bye, guys.
Take care.